Good evening and welcome to the Pro MFG Technology Leadership Think Tough. Let's talk scalability, powered by Nano Precise iCorp. My name is Manish Kulkarni and I'm from Pro MFG Media. Pro MFG Media is a manufacturing-focused publishing media company, and our engagements and platforms focus on connecting, collaborating, and transforming the manufacturing sector. Today's fireside chat will focus on smart manufacturing and operational excellence. It is under the series Pro MFG Technology Leadership Think Tough. Let's talk scalability powered by Nano Precise. We have a very distinguished speaker having decades of experience with us. So I take extreme pleasure in introducing Mr. Chetan Srivastava. He presently is working as the Executive Director Manufacturing, Dalmia Bharat Cement Limited, Unit Rajgangapur in Odisha. Welcome, Chetanji. Welcome to this fireside chat. Welcome. My co-moderator for this session is Tanmay Matre. Tanmay leads marketing and strategy at Nano Precise, and he is the youngest member to be part of the leadership team at Nano Precise. Nano Precise is a deep tech startup. And Chetanji, the first question is, it is said that digital transformation is a journey, and it also has several elements to it. It also has several objectives. Could you shed light on the prioritization of what to focus on first as a manufacturing professional?
Business transformation and digital transformation, if you see, they are very closely linked. Number one thing or number one priority always was, when you were driving any change initiative, or in fact digital transformation more so, is that top driven force. And if you look at whether the board has got that kind of buy-in, whether the MD or the CEO, he is really engaged to that extent where he really wants to use this as a strategy. So number one thing is that top driven force or top driven focus should be there, and it should be very much as a part of agenda for any top management. Priority or second priority, I'll say, is that how much the team is owning it. So if these two priorities are there, so what will happen is, if team is owning it and if top is driving it, there will be enough facilitation and enough activity around it. So that is one thing. Second thing is, when you are looking at digital transformation specifically, that whole paradigm of, because you are not only shifting from analog to digital, you are also shifting from, physical resource to virtual resource. So that essential shift in mindset from very beginning. Suppose I am looking at, every time there is a server at my location, and then there is a room, and then there is a cooling system. And if you look at that, or if there is a person who is having all competency in, then I think you will be lagging in this digital transformation initiative. The whole idea should be, how much virtual can you be? Your top, your team, and your thinking, everything is aligned toward digital transformation, not as a tool, but as a strategy, but as a method of doing things, or as a way of performing your business.
These new age digital technology, Chetanji, have the promise and the potential to increase efficiency, reduce costs, improve the customer experience, and much, much more. What are the ideal metrics for optimization, specifically for setting the right key performance indicators, KPIs, and how do you align your metrics with your organizational goals and operations?
When you are actually looking at this initiative, or even if you are talking about implementing anything, of course, one of the thing is how to actually measure where you are and where you are moving. So, and like I said, that number one focus, since it is about engagement and ownership. So that should be our number one metric. How many people are actually owning it, and how much? So suppose there is a review, or is there a monthly review where your MD himself joins in, or whether the CEO is there who is looking at digital initiative per se as his key area of work going forward. That is one thing. Second thing is whether when we are making teams and teams of teams, then you have to actually look at who are the people who are engaged. Is it happening that only ground level people, whereas middle managers or senior level managers, they are not at all aware or competently actually engaging in this? They are only, facilitating in a traditional style, or are they facilitating like a, because when you are working in digital teams, you may have somebody who has a 1/10 of experience you are having, but that person may be more competent. So there you have to necessarily play that role of being a team player with that person, at the same time facilitating. So that number one metric for me is the whole measurement system around how many people are engaged from top to bottom, or top to the effective force which is implementing it. Second thing is, when you are looking at digital transformation, we had this old mindset of, doing everything right in the first time, or completing everything and then maybe launching it. So now, more than that, speed of implementation is number one thing for me. So suppose you can take a digital initiative and say that in 2 years I'll be implementing it, then maybe you are already on a wrong path, because what you will be implementing will already be obsolete by 1.5 years when you complete it in 2 years. So that speed of implementation, if you are looking at, second metric is something like, if you talk about weeks or at most a month, and then you keep on rolling out various upgrades, or various corrections, various debugging, which can keep on happening, but within few weeks to months you should be there with that digital initiative. The second metric for me, which is very important, is something like that. Third thing is, when you are talking about business environment, earlier what I have seen is that every time when digital initiatives were talked about, it was mostly on the social front. There is an app where people are interacting socially or like that. But lately what has happened is, digital is one of the key areas where you actually leveraging digital technologies to solve your business problems, and in a way, and in a direction where competitors are not even looking at. So you are, maybe you are a person, like, I will tell you one small example. So we had this project in which I wanted all inspections to happen very fast. And whenever I talk to our core team, and then they used to come with this risk perception. If you are talking about this thing, there will be risk and IT risk, and you cannot associate your brand with this particular app. So then, while talking, so few of the boys from one of the college in Indore, they ventured, and they said that we can make an app for you. It will be totally free. And so one of the colleagues, he was discussing with one of his friends, and then he happened to be a teacher in one of these things, and they came out with a very simple app which was available on an Android platform, and then openware and free of cost. And they made this dashboard where, as soon as there is something, and it was given to with various level of administrative authorities to only say, I will say, not more than 10 to 12%. So app built for 10 to 12% only, in which 5 or 6 were inspector, 4 or 5 were supervisor, and one of our team member was there. And as soon as this work was getting completed, they will say that this stage is completed, ready for inspection. So inspector, wherever he is, he will go and inspect in that stage without the work being stopped. So such a simple this thing, but it was solving a major problem of, stage by stage inspection, where you are. And as a result, our inspection time was reduced by almost, so in a job of 4 to 5 days of fabrication, we were effectively losing almost 12 to 16 hours only on inspection. And now what it happened, something like 1 hour, it reduced to almost 1 hour time of inspection. So what I'm saying is, whether you are actually solving. So another problem, another third metric as per me is, if you are solving a business problem better than your competitors using digital. So whether how much you are leveraging your digital prowess or prowess, or whatever, like, initiative, in terms of leaving your competitors behind in the targets which you are pursuing. And fourth and final can be how much of your top management's remuneration or pay or payroll or whatever you say is linked with where this kind of initiative, whether they are still in that traditional mindset where every Monday or every month, whenever there is an interaction, it is something to do with a traditional business done in a very traditional manner, or is it whether that person is, because of the remuneration structure, he is being forced or driven to adopt digital as the way of doing business. So these four metrics come to my mind if you ask me.
How do you plan to tackle the pilot purgatory stages and come out of it and scale it?
Yeah, so like I said, number one thing which you have also experienced this involvement of top management in doing this, and as a result we have got a entire digital transformation team working with us. Very senior people are heading that, and it is being continuously reviewed, and in every unit we have got a person who is looking at digital transformation aspects, and then entire team is also aligned around that. And I'm like happy to tell you that the unit which last unit which we had commissioned here and the location where I am located now is one of the most advanced unit. You can see the entire wall made of LEDs, where entire there are robo labs which are taking sample. And so if you see that robot working, it will be like 10 persons working together. So if you see, there are various initiatives and it is solving, very clearly. And that is how this particular unit is one of the most efficient unit. In fact, the most efficient unit in the entire world in cement units. So if you look at that, path is already there. So whenever you are doing any major intervention, can you do it from design stage itself is one thing, because you do something and then modify it is a lot of work. But when you plan it and then you plan that kind of digital lookout and outlook from very beginning, where you have got a lot of automation working for you, lot of augmented reality and your design concepts which are around that working for you, whether artificial intelligence can be used, so, and machine learning and artificial. So now it is not only Dalmia, other cement industries also, we are very highly focused on using AI and machine learning concepts in order to improve our processes. So that is one thing. But when what happens is, when people try to, like, from very beginning we have been talking, whether people are looking it as a methodology to change their business, or whether they are looking at it as a way of solving their business permanently, or are they looking it as a tool. So I get this particular tool and then I say that it is implemented, somebody else comes and implements it. So whether that owning of that entire digital transformation, is it there, or is it being taken as a tool? So that is one thing where I see a lot of initiatives. I see a lot of in various units wherever I have been going in other businesses also. I have seen pockets of excellence, and then we get surprised. How come it has happened that this such an excellent thing is here at this location, but it is not replicated anywhere else, even in same unit in other areas? But so that is one very important reason where you see, when initial stage itself, you keep on being a person who is trying, or a unit or an industry which is trying something but not adopting it. So that is one thing. Second thing is, again, comes back to top management focus. All these initiatives are like rubber ball. When you bounce it down, what happens is that you have to again hold it back and again bounce it back with the same force and energy. Otherwise, it will slowly damp down. But wherever I have seen any initiative, right from the days of Six Sigma or TPM, TQM, right, to lean or digital transformation, any area or business process re-engineering, it was always where top management was not holding it and bouncing it back with the same energy. So wherever I have seen, these two things have been major reason. Number one, believe in the methodology or the change which you are adopting, in this case digital transformation, and second thing is facilitating it back with the same energy. So these two things are there on top of my mind.
You had mentioned somewhere in the earlier forum about wireless sensors, SIM-based wireless sensors. Do you think completely wireless sensors which are SIM-based is the future? And how much does the solution scalability matter to you? considering its mass deployment?
Yeah. So actually, no, wireless sensor is not only future, it is actually going, that is the only thing which will survive. You cannot put everything on wire. Even now you are planning to transmit power also on wirelessly. So there is no point in like actually thinking whether we can. So that entire change in shift in mindset has to happen there where we are. And then SIM based or cellular based technologies are really coming to aid if you like. And then on top of it, now blockchain is there. So you actually even do not need to look at things like whether the server is there or not, and server can work wirelessly or not. You can really go into simply move on to blockchain and then develop applications around it, and it will bring much more transparency and credibility as compared to whatever wired ones you have used were doing or wireless ones will do. So that entire thing is like really evolving into that. And various applications. I was talking to a boy in NIT Raipur, and he shared a very good idea with me, that he said that you people are going and working in so many underground mines and confined spaces. So I have this idea that I can fit a small SIM on your helmet, and suppose you get stuck up anywhere, and it will be, you should have a mobile, and then this SIM will help you to keep getting connected, and it will show you in your minds from where you can find a escape route. It will keep you giving a, and where. And second thing is, then we discussed why we cannot evolve this application, and then he said that we can, and then we discussed that we can fix a gas analyzer on top of that helmet. So, and so where many people who are inside that particular mines, so whosoever is moving, they can be their helmets can be talking to each other, and as a result what will happen is the place where gas intensity is higher, immediately other helmets will know that this place you need not go, this route you need not go, this is a not a friendly environment. And even that person also will have alarm that return back from that place, and others will get an alarm. And on mobile, this app will tell them not to go to that location, and you have to find escape route from some other road. And so and this cannot happen if you keep thinking wire like that. So of course wireless or blockchain or the same technologies, they are the way to go. And it will very soon, like the time we are talking, maybe another 3-4 years, you will be finding servers or even cloud will become older and blockchain will take place everywhere.
Role do you think AI-based predictive maintenance is going to play in net zero goals, right? Every company today, be it cement and steel, has a net zero goal. Predictive maintenance do certainly has a role to play apart from the carbon dioxide capturing technology that you are using, but AI-based predictive maintenance, right? How do you plan to use that in your net zero long-term goals?
Yeah, so when you talk about predictive maintenance, I would like to remain with the word predictive actually, or proactive, I will say. And proactive and predictive words, not only in maintenance, anything, whatever you are doing. So suppose there is like you know suppose and I am a big fan of IoT. So if you ask me, like, so when you are looking at a particular mill where it is grinding for so long, and then there are various on there are you can mount now various small devices on top of your bearings, your top of your gearboxes, and they will keep on sensing. And then there is a dashboard, like for me it is very simple to see my entire operations wherever I am by just clicking on mobile. And so but that is not the point, that if I am seeing and then telling somebody that you please do this maintenance, why I should tell? In fact, the machine should tell me that you please do this maintenance. And so there is always a there is a curve where you can still come back, and still there's a point where you cannot come back, and then damage has already happened. So like suppose there is a bearing where you are going to increase, temperature is going to increase from, say, it was normally operating at 55 degree, and now when beyond 75 degrees something has happened. So even if you now correct and it comes back to 55 or 57 degree, but then there is a certain amount of damage which has happened in that bearing. But if that bearing tells me that, you see, I was at 55 or I will say that ambient plus 20 degree. Like ambient temperature is 35 and I was at 20 degree. Now bearing tells me that, see, I am nowadays I am at 21 degree. And now see, for past 2-3 days, I am 21.2, 21.3, 21.5. Even though I am far, far away from the alarm point, but bearing starts telling me that you should do something, my temperature is increasing. And then if it is, there is a device mounted on top and it reads the entire vibration spectrum and temperature spectrum and this thing, signature analysis it does. It also tells that there is the lubrication, there is some lubrication which is, has to be done. And then at 56 or 57 degree, you go and do that corrective lubrication. Now that is also evolved. So there are devices of lubrication which are the lubrication cups which are mounted on that bearing. So now what happens is, the moment bearing tells, there is a pulse which goes to a solenoid operated system. So that solenoid operates for a defined time and then shuts down, and that lubrication is already happened. It becomes pretty more interesting if that location is so remote or at such height where your people team will themselves resist in going, and they will go once in a while or once in 10 days or whatever. So if you see predictive maintenance and the way it is being leveraged because of use of these digital transformation technologies or digital technologies, it is really paving way for any kind of, so that is one thing. And now you apply similar thing. So suppose in our mines, specific oil consumption, specific fuel consumption is to the tune of, say, I'm just taking a number, so 0.45 liters per ton of your limestone, which is your this thing. And now you put a app based technology around, and then there is the engine there, that engine can be entire operation of engine by use of GPS and by use of small chips embedded on that engine. You can read entire condition, and then when it is idle, when it is being run in a non-economy zone, when the tire pressure is going high or low, where the ramp is beyond this thing, or whether it can also sense whether your road is rough or smooth. So when you combine everything on an app, and then every day, every hour, you are getting an analysis, a dashboard, where it is telling that this particular engine, this road needs to be corrected, or this engine needs to be, there is some back pressure getting developed. So maybe engine needs an overhauling at this stage itself, or whether there is some gap with the lubrication or fuel part of it, or something like where the driver is speeding and this driver tends to speed or tends to go beyond economy zone. So then whole fuel oil consumption from 0.44, it drops to something like 20-25% only by reading this dashboard and getting these intelligent inputs out of it. So that is on fuel. Similarly, your water. Now cement industry is generally 3 to 4 times, and we are Dalmia is now 10 times water positive. So every drop of water, wherever it is getting measured, whether what is going in any home, any equipment, and everything is, so it is zero discharge, everything is getting recycled. Plus you are helping all. So suppose we are connected with around 18 villages around us in that mines. So 18 villages also you are supplying water. So everything is getting measured, and then there is a dashboard which keeps on telling you that where you are going in terms of water positivity. So and if you ask me, like now, when earlier environment people used to come and we used to tell them that you count these trees, we have planted these many trees. Now they simply go to Google Map and check it. So so if you see, and then you cannot tell lies to them. You have to actually have that kind of greenery all around you, and more than that. So if you're an organization like Dalmia, you really tend to do more than whatever is there. So if you, there are numerous when it comes to sustainability, something similar on environment and safety also. I would like to tell you safety, now because of COVID, you do not want people of certain area to go to. So there is a concept where there is a bubble and people would remain in that bubble. And when you are working in a plant which is operating in full this thing, you do not want people to actually go from here to. So now there are visually enabled high resolution cameras which will not only read right from very beginning the person has entered in your plant, and it will create a database, what is the temperature, what is the condition of that plant. Then it will keep on monitoring, because all these cameras are talking to each other. And when this person goes to that area, it will say that now this person has reached to his right area, or this person is not in his right area. And immediately you can intervene. The moment this guy removes his mask, immediately there is an alarm with employer ID, employee ID, and the name of that person, that this person has removed the mask. So like if you talk about applications in HSC, there are numerous applications, right from confined space to water saving to anything, any area. And that was one of the first area where actually we were going very high on, right from predictive maintenance to going anywhere in HSC.
What are the technologies which excite you the most? And Chetanji, you feel that your plants must adopt this in next couple of years?
Yeah, so blockchain is certainly one area where, and so wherever there is an application which makes you much more transparent and ready for, because we are in a age where you never know what tomorrow will happen. So all the experience which people have gathered over thousands of years has really become nothing, because you cannot actually work with those experiences, because what is happening is something beyond what you could have experienced earlier. So one thing is that the technology which actually liberates everyone. So blockchain is certainly one area, and with various applications in, right from villages to banks to manufacturing sector to, of course, and other financial areas, of course it is there. And then, so that is one thing. And wherever this technology, or whether it is blockchain or anything where it makes things which are otherwise deemed to be impossible, and making that possible. So I'll take an example, is something like, there is a silo where you can there is a material which is 100 degrees C. So it's clinker which you are storing at 100 degrees C and continuously. And this silo, when it was constructed, it was not constructed with a mind that you can open it and go inside. And of course, it is not safe to do that. So earlier, whenever the silo was a black box, and at least in black box also you get some input, but it was not at all available. With drone coming into place, and now there are drones available which can fly inside your silo with night vision, and they can safely check entire silo, right from strength to what is the condition of silo. And then similarly, we have areas where you are working in height of something like 170 meter, 175 meter, and it's very difficult to go every day. And even if lift also, if you keep on going there, and it takes a lot of time to go and come back, and then it is not safe for one person to go there. But and similarly, then there are other areas like your mines may be scattered over a say 3,000 acres or 5,000 acres, and you cannot really monitor that entire area. And if there may be a case where some villager is stuck up in some mining area, or some animal is in one of the pits. But now with drones coming into place, you can very well and very easily, and that I was referring about equipments which are monitoring instruments which are mounted on top of these instruments. So this entire thing makes me very excited about the kind of possibilities which digital transformation is bringing in. You can write at your point, you can see the entire mines, which was not possible even if you had kept 100 people to see that. And right at location which is very dangerous, you can monitor it, and in monitoring it in a way where you could not have monitored even if you had gone inside, taking all the risk. So now you can have such kind of cameras or photographs where you can go into a granular structure also if you want. So this thing is what which excites me when I see technology delivering such things which were not at all deemed possible by any human intervention. So that is what excites me, and I see technology as one of the most enabling things which is happening all around us. And great thing is that we are in that area where, I very firmly believe that you and I may live for 120 years, you never know. So the kind of things which in medical or health field which is happening, so anything or everything can be replaced now, and you can still remain living in a lively condition for years and years. So people say that after 50 years, people may live for 150 years also. So at least if there is only one person in this earth who believes it, I am there. So I very much believe in that. So these are all some things where but if you look at blockchain, the way it is happening all around us, I really am excited about blockchain per se. If you want to put in one name, but the entire thing, the game which technology is playing is also pretty exciting.
In your opinion, how should organizations should view ROI from a digital transformation perspective? How to measure and monitor ROI? What is your experience in leveraging these advanced technologies for higher ROI?
Yeah. So number one, that return on investment on technological transformation cannot be viewed in a smaller perspective of a 6 months or 1 year. So you always do certain part which is for a very definite objective, and you do a certain part which is more for failing or experimenting, I'll say. And so all experiments which are failing are actually giving way to something else which you will achieve in future. So you should always put aside some amount only for failing, because then you will say that this is the way it cannot be done, and this is the way. So I know now 99 ways in which it cannot be done, and I am sure to find the 100th way by which it can be done. And whenever it happens, even though it seems that I have failed 99 times, but still I am much ahead because I have failed 99 times faster than others. And so when the way comes up and when I am able to find the right way, I'll be the first to do that. And that is much more important than how many times you have failed and how many times you have failed in a day. So that part cannot be linked with ROI until unless it happens. And if you see, all the intelligent organizations or even intelligent people are keeping some time to fail. And they keep on doing something and failing something. So now they are clear that. So that part, I think you should deal for that part ROI in a much different way, where the whole focus should be on how many times you have tried. And then comes the other part, which is first part, where so when you are talking about technological this transformation or this thing, one very important and critical thing which we discussed in very beginning was that you should think of it as a profitable journey. So when you are looking at, say, in 2 years, I would like to create this. So there should be maybe 24 milestones where you should say that I've invested, say, 100 crore rupees or 50 crore rupees. And so first, this thing, I should be able to get this much amount of, I should be able to leverage this kind of benefit out of it. And that should be a clear business advantage, because unless you do that, it cannot be done in a philosophical manner only for doing that. Once you have separated yourself from the experimentation part, the second part has to be very tangible and very clear. So there, number one thing is you have to link it to a business objective, which is very clear and crisp. You cannot then keep on working in a vague manner that I have to do something. See, everybody is transforming, so I should also transform. There you have to solve your problem. So suppose your turnaround time of your trucks or rakes or it is high. Now you want to do it to a traditional way of monitoring everything on an Excel sheet or by use of GPS and RFID. Suppose you want to do that. Then you should be very clear that within 1.5 months, my turnaround time should come down. And that tangible result has to happen by deploying. Maybe I have chosen these two areas, RFID and this thing, and maybe a plant logistic management system. So these 2-3 things I have chosen, and next 3 months. So then you have to very clearly, and maybe in a conventional way also, drive this transformation or this adoption and get that result in 1 month. That if your turnaround time has to reduce by 10% or 20% in a month time, then you should do it in a month time.
It was a very insightful session. Thank you, Chetanji, for joining us and for taking your time out of your busy schedule and sharing your experiences and insights. We look forward to being in touch with you, of course, and sharing your experience and best practices and knowledge with the manufacturing community. I would also like to thank Tanmay and NanoPrecise for supporting this initiative. Thank you once again. Please take care. Stay safe. Thank you so much.